Hello and welcome back to Insights and Inspirations, brought to you by Finally Spoken. I'm Dee and I'm here to bring you a dose of positivity. As I sift through the lessons that I learned from the book The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn, I uncovered a lot of lessons that are worth sharing. Admittedly, some of its points are outdated. After all, it is published in 1925. But I nitpicked through the pearls for me to share it to you and inspire us all. If you haven't listened to the book, I placed the link in the description below this video. I stumbled upon a lesson which was also constantly reiterated by my mother. You reap what you sow. And whatever deed or word you send out to the universe, it will come back to you. It was that very statement that has led me to the realization that, The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn is a book that is Christian-centric. But if you delve through it, you'd uncover that the general idea that she presents in this book are more universal. See, when you say you reap what you sow, and whatever deed or word you send out to the universe, it will come back to you. 'Tis not far off from the philosophy of karma. Karma, according to the Indian religion philosophy, is by which if you do good or bad decisions, these actions determine the future of the individual. The phrase is also tantamount to the Confucian philosophy of do not do unto others what you don't want done unto you. It centers on the thought that whatever it is that you send out to the universe, it will come back to you. So if you do good, you receive good things. If you do bad things, then bad things will happen to you. Although admittedly, I'm not completely sold with the idea, because even if you approach the world kindly, it could still place you in a bad circumstance, or bad things could always happen to you. What I have come to realize, though, that if you do good and approach the world with a sunnier or more positive outlook when faced with bad situations, your perseverance and tolerance towards overcoming that struggle is more than your otherwise negative thinking counterparts. Still, do good even if it's not a total guarantee of being spared from the lashes of destiny. So let me tell you a story that is so astounding to me that has opened this profound notion that I will continually do good and be compassionate towards others. And if whatever I bring forth in this world, let it bring out positivity. This is a story that is very personal to me. And I'm very grateful for the divine grace and how it unfolded. You see, 15 years ago, my father, in the middle of the night, started vomiting profuse amounts of blood. And we didn't have a car back then. We didn't have a car to bring him to the hospital. Essentially, we were teenagers who had no idea what to do during emergency situations like this. So in a frantic bid to save my father's life, I asked our next door neighbor to help us, and they did so without hesitation. The auntie offered to care for my little brother while we rushed my father to the hospital, while her husband graciously helped us to carry my father into their family car and brought us to the ER just right in time, minutes away from losing our dad from massive blood loss. By the grace of God, those people were instrumental in saving my father's life. Had it not been for them, we would have lost him that night. And I know this now because that situation pushed me into pursuing medicine. And I knew, looking back clinically, that my father had minutes to spare. Fast forward to 15 years later, I just graduated from medical school and had my first contractual job as a doctor. I was on my way home from a 24-hour duty when I had a call of what happened to my father also happened to the uncle who drove us to the hospital that very night. And so I rushed home, equipped to start an IV line and some medications to stop the vomiting and the bleeding. We contacted one of our childhood friends as well, who happened to be a nurse, and he assisted me in starting the IV lines and giving the medication. Looking back, when we reached their house, I saw that he was pale and weak, and the pulse was steady. He was diaphoretic, and the extremities were cold, and his blood pressure could only be discerned with palpation. I started the line, gave the medication, and loaded him into the ambulance. You see, the very same thing Uncle did for us, saving my father's life, I was able to do for him. It's such a big example of all of us being instruments in perpetuating the divine's grace. If I was away in a job elsewhere, that day could have ended differently. Just like if my uncle didn't help us, that night 15 years ago could have ended differently. You see, if that is not a perfect example of reaping what you sow, then I don't know what is. You see, my uncle planted a seed of kindness in my heart, and it has prompted me, along with a lot of experiences in life, to learn so much more in medicine so that I could help families and save their dads, save their moms, give them that little time that would mean the world. See, the world might as well be a big mirror, or one big reflection of all our actions towards other people. So I say this with all of my heart: let us perpetuate kindness, and it shall return to us 1,000 times more. I'm Dee, and that's your dose of positivity.